you got a little bee in your bonnet. Can we throw up the animation? And do we have a tune?
We have a theme song. We're not making it up right now. It's Joe's, John's, bee in a bonnet.
We haven't done it in a while. We haven't been pissed off enough
for being the bonnet. Thankfully, everything else in racing world is
perfect.
Pathetic. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
there's no reason for us to get our dander up, as it were, Joe, Bianca. But having been fortunate enough to have horses on the Derby campaign for the last few years, I've been able to sit back in context and say, what things do I like about the Derby chase and what things I think should be at least looked upon, if not improved upon. And one of the things that just annoys me is you have this series of races for points, and the points are very important because obviously they get you in or keep you out of the starting gate for the most important 3-year-old race of the year. And you look at, now we're entering the 100-point races, and you look at the races that are 100-pointers. Florida Derby, which is a grade 1. And again, let's not argue about whether or not 3-year-old prep races should be grade 1s or not. That's a different argument. That's a bee in the bonnet that Tinky has and other people have, and I can see the argument of that. Let's just go with the rules that we have. Okay, Florida Derby, grade 1. Arkansas Derby, grade 1. Bluegrass, grade 1. Santa Anita Derby, Joe, say it with me. Grade 1. Okay, then you have the Wood, grade 2. The Louisiana Derby, grade 2. And the UAE Derby, which to date has not had a horse represented in the first 3 positions of the Kentucky Derby, but it's a 100-pointer. Argue, amongst yourselves as to whether or not that should be a 100-pointer as well. And then the last of the 8 races that are 100-pointers is the Jeff Ruby Stake that just ran over the weekend. Grade 3. So from a grading standpoint, they don't feel that it was important enough to be a grade 2 or a grade 1, and that horses haven't gone on from that race to continue to improve or win or run well in other graded stake races. And it's on a different surface than what we're used to running, everywhere else in the country. It's on the Tapeta, which is great for that horse, or for the horse that wins that race. But, you question whether or not they can then take their abilities from the Tapeta into the dirt racing of Churchill Downs. Now, Joe, I know you're going to ask me, you're going to say, John, how many horses in the past 20 years have won the Jeff Ruby or other iterations of that race? Because it's been called different things over the past few years.
It'd be the Spiral.
Spiral, it was even the Lane's End before then. Okay, you're exactly right. How many horses have won that race and then gone on and won the Kentucky Derby?
I'm going to say none.
You'd be close. There was one. There was Animal Kingdom.
Oh, I was going to say, I knew Animal Kingdom ran in that race.
In 2011 is the outlier for all this. So all these other 100-pointers, save the United Arab Emirates Derby. We're just going to keep that out of the argument for the time being. Okay. All the other 6 race 100-pointers have produced not one, but multiple Derby winners, Kentucky Derby winners, multiple Kentucky Derby winners. From Mandaloon, who won the Risen Star, to Authentic, who won the San Felipe Country House, the Arkansas Derby, Justify, the Santa Anita Derby. It goes on and on and on. So why is this race, the Jeff Ruby Stake, which is $750,000? It's great that they're putting up that kind of money. But why is it a 100-pointer where not only the horse that wins basically gets an automatic bid, but the horse that finishes second also earns, for all intents and purposes, enough points to get into the Kentucky Derby? So why should this race be at that same level where it knocks out possibly 2 other, what I would call more legitimate dirt horses, to be out of the stalls in the Kentucky Derby? Again, you can say, John, there's 20 spots. What are you so, upset about this for? But when you get to those last couple of spots, as to whether or not your horse is going to be in or is going to be left out of the draw, it makes a really big difference. And so, again, I question not, should they be giving $750,000 away for a race, for a Derby prep? That's their prerogative. Okay. I question whether or not this should be a 100-pointer or, like other races that are just offered the week prior, maybe make it a 50-pointer. And that way, if the horse that wins it's probably on the outside looking in. It probably has to do something else in order to get into the starting gate, but make it more fair, make it more legitimate, for those couple of horses that could get into the Derby that have what I would call, better, I'm projecting to have better dirt racing form than Final Gambit and Flying Mohawk, respectively.
I think it's fair. I think the main thing is that it's on the Tapeta. It's not on the dirt. There's not a 100-point turf race. There's not a 100-point synthetic race overseas, as far as I know, get into the Derby. So I think that's fair, and I think it's borne out by last year's winner running in the Derby against the wishes of the trainer, and endlessly has not been seen or heard from them, as far as I can find. And this year, Brad Cox is saying that Final Gambit probably not going to run in the Derby because his dirt works are just okay. If it doesn't project into the Derby, I don't think it makes sense as a 100-point race. I think that's fair.